Hello, welcome to FightCore USA.
Have you ever fought while bleeding? Have you ever had a cut so deep that you could barely see? What about one that was so big that it changed how you fought? Years ago, I was coaching a Muay Thai fighter named, he was fighting an opponent who was bigger and stronger than him. And in the first round, he got caught with a swinging knee. It opened up a significant cut, right above his eye. And then when he came back to his corner, I saw that it had started to pour. Blood was pouring down his face. He couldn't see out of that eye. I remember because I could barely see out of that eye. And I was just standing there watching him, trying to figure out what he was gonna do. And in those few seconds that we have before going back out into the ring, he looked at me, and I'll never forget this look. And he just said, "It's okay." He goes, "It's fine. Just tape it up." And I was like, "You can't see." He goes, "I know I can't see, but it's fine. I'm gonna go out there and fight." And that's exactly what he did. He went out there and he fought with a crimson mask on his face, if you will, or a blood mask. He didn't make excuses. He didn't try to quit. He didn't say, "Oh my gosh, I'm bleeding. This is terrible." Instead, he put his hands up. He walked forward and he started to swing. And now his opponent, who had opened up the cut in the first place, was the one that was starting to panic. And it created one of the greatest comebacks that I've ever seen in a Muay Thai match. It was amazing to watch. Not because of the blood, not because of the gore, but because of the heart and the courage that this fighter displayed. But let's take a step back for a moment and let us talk about some of the things that happen to your body, to your mind, and to the dynamics of a fight when you are cut open specifically around the eyes. Because that is the most common place for fighters to get cut. And it's also the most debilitating when you get a cut above the eye. It does three things. No! One, it will open up and blood starts pouring down your face. Number two, it will get in your eyes. No. Three, it's going to make the mat underneath you slippery. All three of these things are going to happen if you get a significant cut over there. The first thing that happens is the blood starts coming down your face. Now, obviously, depending on how deep the cut is, it could be minor or it could be gushing. But either way, it's going to cause a distraction. If you're not used to fighting with blood, the first time that you do, it's going to be a shock to your system. That shock can make you disoriented. It can make you confused because all of a sudden there's this warm, wet sensation coming down your face. And if it gets in your mouth, it's going to taste like iron. And all of these different sensations can distract you from what you're doing. If the cut is deep enough, the blood will start getting into your eyes. When it does, it will burn. It will feel like fire, like hot coals are being thrown into your eyes. When that happens, you will squint. You will try to protect yourself by squinting up. And what that ends up doing, because you're in a dynamic, high-energy situation, is it causes your eyes to pop wide open. So you might think, "Oh, I'm squinting, but my eyes are actually popping open further and further and further and further. And the more blood that gets in your eyes, the worse it's going to feel. And you're going to do whatever you can to try to protect them. But unfortunately, the more you try to protect them, the worse it's going to get." Then the third thing that happens, which is maybe the worst thing of all, if you get cut bad enough the blood is going to get in your hands. And when it does, it's going to make them very slippery. And if you're the one who's bleeding, that means you're trying to punch somebody. You're trying to grapple with somebody. You're trying to control somebody. And your hands are just slipping and sliding all over the place. It becomes almost impossible to do what you're trying to do. When any of these three things happen, or really all three together, it completely changes the dynamic of a fight. It doesn't matter what level you're at, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced fighter. If you've never experienced fighting with blood, when it happens to you, it will change the dynamic of your fight. So let's talk about what to do when you're cut open, specifically around the eyes. Let's talk about how to deal with each one of these situations. First off, the blood dripping down your face. It's going to happen. And there's nothing you can really do about it. The best thing to do is to focus on your breathing, to stay calm and relaxed, to try to ignore it as much as possible. Yes, you're going to be aware of it. Yes, it's going to be there. But the less you make a big deal out of it, the less it's going to affect you. Also, your coaches and your team, if you're in a team setting, they're going to try to stop the bleeding. They're going to do whatever they can to help you. So, rely on them. Focus on what you need to do, which is just to breathe, relax, calm down, and keep fighting. Second thing, the blood in the eyes. It's going to happen. It's going to burn. There's really only two things you can do. One, try to blink really fast. Try to get the blood out of your eyes as quick as possible. Sometimes that helps. Sometimes it doesn't. And the second thing is just to try to relax your face as much as possible. Try not to squint. Squinting will make it worse. Try to relax your eyes. Try to relax your eyebrows. Try to relax your forehead, because the more tense you are, the more that you're going to be affected by it. And then the third thing, the blood in your hands. This is the one that's going to affect your performance the most. As soon as you feel that your hands are getting slick, as soon as you feel that your hands are getting wet, stop what you're doing and wipe your hands off immediately. Try to get the blood off your hands as fast as possible, because the longer it stays there, the more slick and the more slippery your hands are going to be. Also, if you're grappling, if you're in a standing situation, if you're in a dirty boxing situation, if you're in a striking situation, do whatever you can to get a break. If you're exhausted, if you're tired, if you're worn out, and you have blood all over your hands, it's going to be even worse. So try to get a break if you can. Try to get a minute to recover. Try to get a minute to get your hands cleaned off so that you can continue to fight effectively. Now, sometimes you won't be able to do that. Sometimes the fight will go on for rounds and rounds and rounds. Sometimes it'll be so exciting and so fast-paced that there won't be a moment that you can take a break. If that's the case, you just have to push through. But the most important thing is to recognize that this is going to happen. Recognize that if you don't deal with it effectively, it's going to affect you negatively. Years ago, I was training a fighter. He was having a tough time. He had gotten cut in a previous fight, and he was terrified that it was going to happen again. We worked on it in training. We worked on it for months. He went into his next fight. Guess what happened? He got cut, right? Oh, what? He got cut in the first round. And then what happened? He quit. He couldn't continue. He lost the fight because he hadn't dealt with it in training. He hadn't been able to work through it. He hadn't been able to focus on his breathing, relaxed his body, and just keep fighting. Instead, he panicked. He freaked out. He lost his composure. And I saw that same thing happen last week with a fighter that I was coaching. He got cut, he panicked, he freaked out. Fortunately, he was able to work through it, and he ended up winning the fight. But it was close. It was tough. It was difficult. It didn't have to be that way. If he'd been able to stay calm and relaxed, if he'd been able to focus on his breathing, if he'd been able to just keep moving forward, he would have been fine. So the next time you're train with blood, cut yourself open, get some friends who help you, put some fake blood on your face, put some fake blood on your hands, and train like that. Train in scenarios where you have to fight with blood. Because the truth is, if you're going to be a true warrior, if you're going to be a fighter, sooner or later it's going to happen to you. And when it does, you need to be prepared.
Okay guys, thank you for watching my videos.